Hello, my name is Dennis Plotz, and this is the second assignment for ETL 684. I'll have to apologize due to the program that I'm running to capture the voice with this particular PowerPoint. I wanted to bop back and forth in between an online portion and a PowerPoint here, so I'm going to go ahead and have to do the PowerPoint out in the creation mode rather than the presentation mode. I still think it will have the same effect, though. So, at any rate, uh, the abstract is going to be the following is a synopsis of the first and second chapter of our text, and as it applies to my classroom. I know that the PowerPoint is not going to be inclusive of all the strategies and proponents measured in the chapters, but I focused on the ones that I have currently used or the ones that I plan to use in the future. And so, um, to go ahead and offer into the next slide and just to basically throw it out there, the concerns about online assessment, the three main ones that the text offers is this: is that is the student enrolled in the class the one that's actually completing the assignments? That's a good question, and that's I suppose a very sticky wicket. I don't have the answers for that, and it seems like the text does not um, either. And so, that's definitely a legitimate concern. How can I gauge the understanding of someone I cannot see? And that's a real tough one for myself, simply because most of my experience is in the local classroom. Uh, that's going to be a really, really tough thing for me to think about going forward into the online classroom and the digital classroom, because I'm so used to the body language of learners, and just having a different personal academic relationship with the students, and having the focus on a different, I guess, digital relationship with the students is going to be a big adjustment, especially when it comes to assessment, and kind of like feeling out their understanding levels and whatnot. And then finally, how do I deal with prevent cheating and plagiarism? Wow, that's something that even the local classroom always seems like it has to deal with. But yes, I guess it would be more prevalent online, and that's something to look into, especially as the text offers, really focusing on assignments and assessments that are plagiaristic proof. um, might be a little bit easier to do in mathematics than it is on in some of the written portions, but yeah, it's worth taking a look at. Definite food for thought, and um, got me going in the right direction when I was thinking about, well, how am I going to really, what am I going to deal with when I'm designing these online assessments? So, with any assessment, I suppose I have to bop to the obligatory Bloom's taxonomy, and we've seen this thing as educators over and over again. Um, Basically, trying to push the students upwards from very basic understanding of things to actually using it and creating the concepts. And so, as an online class, just like a local classroom, we're trying to push the students to the upper part of Bloom's taxonomy, creating questions that are going to facilitate this and assess where the students are at on the pyramid, on the spectrum. So, moving more into the meat of what I'm going to talk about here is that using the online environment as an asset to online assessment. And this is very important to me as an educator, because the buy-in for me is, why would I go online? What's really the advantage here? And one of the things that I like about this, three things that I think the text kind of like keyed in on, that spoke to me, is that the computer generated and computer scored assessments are going to provide students with immediate feedback. Now that's pretty powerful, especially when the students are practicing. One of the main things you want a student to know is this: while they're practicing. Are they practicing correctly? There's nothing worse than practicing something incorrectly, and practicing it incorrectly for a while and then coming back the next day into the classroom and learning that you have embedded something into your learning psyche that is not correct. And so I like the immediate feedback and the students being able to, check their understanding themselves and apply the measures. And speaking of applying measures, it says offer suggestions for what material should be reviewed or to obtain a stronger understanding of the misunderstood concepts. And so, as the students progress through, say, for example, a an online quiz or a check for understanding quiz that's on the internet, if they get something wrong, then the program could go ahead and kick out suggestions for basically where to study in the book or the material to be reviewed, so they don't miss that when the larger test comes or when you're really checking for understanding for a grade. So I think that's all pretty powerful stuff, and it kind of falls into the um, the one of the best practices for online learning is getting back to the students right away, and so I really like this aspect here. The next one is research projects, and for me, I think that's really important because it puts kind of like it shares the onus of learning between the teacher and the students. One of the nice parts about the learning on the internet is that the internet seems to update quicker than a textbook. It stays more relevant and current, obviously, because the internet's always changing. And it also encourages the student to contribute the knowledge base of assigned learning goals, and by critically evaluating others. And so that moves the student up the taxonomy. That is that we can go ahead and much like we have the discussions in class or the journal based activities in class. I shouldn't say the journal, the discussion boards. It basically there's a learning goal in mind, and being able to evaluate that and speak to it, and being able to research and whatnot is a powerful thing for the student to have in regards to a concept. It's kind of like in the when we had a grade school, I guess back in the 80s or whatever, where we'd have library time. And that was kind of our research time where we would be able to research topics and we were given objectives and whatnot. The internet is always on. It seems like we're always in the library, and that's a very powerful thing for the students, and that's something as educators we should definitely take advantage of. So, um, speaking to the next part, it says using an online environment as an asset to using the web quests, and that basically is it's providing a scavenger hunt. It's a fun thing, and I think it should be a fun thing, especially if it's delineated from the local classroom because it's different. It's a break from this business of just taking notes and book learning and all that other good stuff. And so fun, I guess, is going to be in context of the teenager, but it certainly would be fun to the fact that they're able to use a digital format to facilitate their own learning, and it's a breakaway from the regular hammer and tongs book paper pencil lesson of the classroom. And from experience, web quests provide a contained lesson goal and rubric without limiting the path to students that can take to achieve those goals, the learning goals. And what is really important for me, again, that I've learned in my master's classes, is that the best practices provide multiple pathways to a learning goal, and that's one of the best practices of online learning. And in being able to assess that, in my opinion, is a web quest is a perfect way because it's the goal is at the very end of it, and there's multiple ways to go about it. And so I want to share how this is reinforced in a web quest, and this is a web quest that I went ahead and designed myself. This is a kite project that that my geometry students take part in, especially after they learn about right triangles and they learn about trigonometry and they learn about area and perimeter and ratios and all that other good stuff. Anyhow, that said, is that one of the things that's powerful about that is that it goes ahead and I can have the introduction, which is up here, the process, which it tells the students what to do, and it goes through there. But the evaluation, as delineated also in the text, is that it has this business of a rubric, and the rubric is something that kind of like a, in my opinion, it doesn't say this in the text, but it's kind of like the communication of just like, okay, this is what the learning goals. This is how you're going to go ahead and be graded. And nice thing about the rubric is that it doesn't say exactly, you know, what's going to go ahead and how to um, achieve the goals. It just says something about the outcome. And so the student, the onus of the student is to achieve the outcome. And that really facilitates into the multiple pathways to achieve the learning outcomes. Also, going back to the online assessment and being able to get the results right away, one of the things that I like about most of the web quests is after the web quest, okay, they can go ahead and complete a quiz, and it shoots the pardon me, it shoots all the results to me, and it also gives the results to the student, whether or not they understood the underlying learning objectives of the web quest. And so, just for example, these are all my students here, and again, it shows whether or not they learned what they were supposed to learn, just as the the whole, I guess, subtitle of our assignment, and yeah, it's a pretty powerful thing. They log in and they do that at all different times of the day, and yeah, it's been really a good thing for my students, and it definitely has resonated in them, and it's helped facilitate again the multiple ways to achieve a learning objective in my class. So, moving on. Oops. Let's see. It says, in order for the strategies to be mentioned previously to be effective, and these are all the things that, oops, if you're going to, um, sorry about that, if you're going to go ahead and and employ all these strategies, these are the things that you should definitely have in place in order for those things to work. And that's what I gathered from the text. It says construct courses that contain a variety of learning activities, assessments, measures to facilitate the various learning styles. Again, we have the three learning styles. We have different ways to achieve a learning goal, and that's really important. It's a best practices of online learning. The rubrics that establish performance expectations, and it tells the students, basically where they are in their learning. Am I achieving what the instructor wants me to achieve? That's really important to go ahead and have out there. That's something that even my local classroom, before I started my master's teaching, I did very little of. I honestly think that is a huge step in me in my educating career, that I develop more rubrics, when the students can go ahead and gauge how much they know from that spreadsheet. It's a very powerful thing, and I saw that towards the end of my classes this year, and I plan to employ that deeper going forward. Also, providing feedback on assessments, prompt feedback, huge. Sometimes when we get overwhelmed as teachers, sometimes the students, they get tests back like 3 weeks later. They're removed from the material, and I understand. I mean, 3 weeks After you complete something, you tend to forget about it, and so that's what I liked, as demonstrated in the online web quest that I had. It gives prompt feedback. It tells the students, hey, did you learn what you were supposed to learn? If not, here's what you were supposed to learn, and it allows them to make the necessary adjustments. And then finally, something that's really, really important, that that I learned kind of the hard way, is that you consider all assessments are online an open book activity. Um, it's an open book test, and we've all had those before, where you can use your notes, you can use this, you can use that, and it goes back to this, the kind of the validity of online assessment. The onus of the teacher is going to say, you know what, hey, these students are going to learn, or are going to go ahead and take these tests, and they're going to take the tests, um, with everything that they could possibly use. They want to do well, understandably. And as educators, you have to design those tests, that are going to be able to dig that out, and without expecting the student, um, not to cheat. I hate to go ahead and say the word cheat, but I mean, they're going to use what they have available for them, and that's understandable. We got to create assessments that are more cerebral, more up to Bloom's taxonomy, that you can expect that they're going to use the things that are available to them, and be able to produce something new from it. And so that's a very reasonable outcome for a student, and again, it is something that a teacher should shoot for. So that's really going to conclude my presentation here. And I just really used the book and read it, and just a lot of my experience in the local classroom, and that's about it. And I'm going to go back to this, and hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.